Cape Media Center, building community through media.
I'm Jen Pina, producing artistic director here at Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre. Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre is a multi-generational, educational community theatre in our 74th season. We were founded by Betty Bope. She was an educator here and in Boston, and she founded what was then the Harwich Junior Theatre at the Exchange Hall in Harwich Center in 1952 with their first show, Cinderella. It grew from there, from the Harwich Junior Theatre, which was mostly producing shows during the summer and for young audiences and families, to where we are now, which is multi-generational theater with shows for audiences of all ages, with up to 10 fully produced shows happening year-round every year, multiple partnerships with other local artists and performers, so we have special events throughout the year and a really robust education program. So we have classes year-round through 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall sessions from ages 4 through adult. We have camps while school is on break during school vacations and summer vacation. We have classes from creative drama through Broadway Kids, through singing for the stage, creative drama on the spectrum, scene study for adults. It just goes on and on and on. I saw my first play here when I was 5. It was Emil and the Detectives. And my older brother, Joel, was in the play, and I was on the edge of my seat. The theater went dark, and there was this sort of warm glow, and we were a family that read a lot of books, so for me, storytelling was just a part of the magical part of the day, and to see this story come to life and have my brother be in it, I thought, I want to do that. And then through the years, I've played a number of different roles here, in plays, but also had multiple jobs here. So I've done everything from children's theater to junior players, our teen ensemble program, both being in it and teaching it, to Shakespeare and some of the classics, to experimental theater, and I've been an actor, a director, choreographer. I've been an usher and a house manager. I've done really almost every job, and now producing artistic director as well. I'm so fortunate to work with the folks that I do here. We have a very small, incredibly talented, hardworking, and dedicated full-time staff. And then we have this huge team of contractors who are either teaching artists or production team members that really reach out into the whole community. We're just so fortunate. And then beyond that, volunteers, a volunteer board, volunteer front of house folks, people who do all sorts of things for us, and then our business partners and sponsors too. So in that way too, we really are a community theater. For more information about volunteering, taking a class, auditioning for a show, coming to see a show, anything else you want, you can walk in the door. I would say my door is always open, but there's not even a door on my office. So come on in and say hello. And you can look at our website, capecodtheatrecompany.org. We are a true community theater, so we're multi-generational in every way you can think of. We've been around for multiple generations. We have multiple generations who are on the staff, on the board, in our classes, in a play at any given time. Multiple generations come to see our shows. We've got grandparents, parents, grandkids all together. And we could not do it without volunteers. We're here for that purpose. We're here as a community organization, a community theater, and the community part's really important.
Hello, my name is Joan Friedman, and I'm here representing the Academy for Lifelong Learning in Barnstable, Massachusetts. The Academy for Lifelong Learning has been on Cape Cod since 1987, and our mission is to provide education and socialization to the Cape Cod community that's 50 years old and older. I am here tonight to talk about Cape Media Center and our association with Cape Media Center. I had a slight relationship with Cape Media in the past, and I just saw that the partnership between the Academy for Lifelong Learning and the Media Center was just a natural. So we came and we talked with the management then, and they put us in contact with Jamie, who is the head of training here. and Jamie trained us on broadcasting techniques, editing, podcasting, how to do field shoots, and through our ability to do these things ourselves, to do broadcasting ourselves, bringing in new people, new classes, to talk to the public about what we were providing. Also, that we were able to start doing our own podcasting. And everybody's very interested in podcasting, and we were able to put out a number of podcasts that really shined a light on our incredible instructors. That through our partnership with Cape Media, over the course of several years, we were able to build our numbers back up to a sustainable number. We made it. We made it through COVID, where so many other not-for-profits didn't. And a large part of that had to do with Cape Media, that we were able to attract a new audience. Things here at the Media Center also keep changing. There are new courses for us to take here. They will allow you to put forth your message. We have been very happy with our partnership and relationship with Cape Media. We are in this, and we are in this together for the sake of the Academy for Lifelong Learning and the members of Cape Cod who are over 50 years old, who want to continue to learn and want to continue to be social, and want to be able to do that in a very safe environment. So that we have been very, very pleased, and I would encourage anybody, who's interested in broadcasting at all, to give them a call. This is the best bang for your buck. And that we were very, very happy that we discovered them and that they continue to partner with us in so many ways. So I'm very happy to be here today. I'm very happy to be able to speak for them because I honestly feel that I've grown to be friends with some of them through our partnership. This has been something that's added a great deal to the Academy for Lifelong Learning, and I feel very confident that if you contact them, that they'll be able to help you too.
On a sunny September Saturday, Brooks Park in Harwich went to the dogs in the best possible way. Friends, family, and their four-legged companions gathered for Barks in the Park, a tail-wagging celebration of pets and the people who love them. The park was packed with vendors offering treats, toys, and gear for both humans and pups. Whether you were shopping for a new leash or a tasty snack, there was something for everyone. Rescue and adoption groups were also on hand, ready to help attendees meet their potential new best friends. Who knows, some visitors may have gone home with more than just memories. Crowds gathered to watch live demonstrations by professional pet trainers, where dogs showed off their skills and their personalities. There were fun games that no pup could resist, and live music that kept tails wagging all day long. And let's not forget the food trucks, serving up delicious bites to keep humans happy and well-fed from start to finish. It was a full day of fun, fur, and fantastic memories. We're Cape Media Center, building community through media.
Hey, I'm Kayla. I was an intern at Cape Media Center back in 2019, and that experience totally launched my career in media.
And I'm Destiny. I was right there with Kayla in 2019, learning everything from camera work to editing and loving every second of it.
The staff here at Cape Media Center were always hands-on and always willing to answer our questions, especially with our final project.
We created a series of videos called the Blue Economy Project, where we dove deeper into how the ocean plays a vital role in Cape Cod's economy.
The series was well approved, and we couldn't have done it without the Cape Media Center.
Fast forward to now, I'm working in live music production and have even worked at venues such as Gillette Stadium and Fenway Park.
And I actually came full circle. I'm back at the Cape Media Center, this time on staff.
Cape Media Center gave us the tools, the confidence, and the real-world experience to chase our creative goals.
It's more than just a media center, it's a launch pad for your future.
Start your story at Cape Media Center in Dennisport.
Cape Media Center,
your voice,
your vision, your community.
Hi, I'm Greg Hischak, as my name tag so verifies. I am the director and the curator of the Edward Gorey House in Yarmouthport. I've been here for 12 years, and I've been the director of the house since 2020. This is Edward Gorey's house. He bought it because it had a big sign out front that said Edward Gorey House in 1979. No, not really. Edward is an artist, illustrator. He's a book artist. He's an author. He does a lot of stuff. And one of his locations where he lived was Cape Cod. Not here initially. He lived over down the road in Barnstable Village. He had a family house there. So Edward was very entrenched in Cape Cod, and he eventually bought this house in 1979. Moved into it 6 years later and lived here for the remainder of his life. Everybody knows Edward, but not for the same reasons. He had a half-century career as a book artist, which became extremely influential for people who would follow, like Maurice Sendak and Shel Silverstein, etc., etc., etc. It wasn't work that he made much money on, and Edward's other job for that half a century was he was an American illustrator, a prolific illustrator. He did hundreds of book covers for Doubleday Anchor. He worked for Random House, and as an illustrator, he produced 80 or 90 children's book illustrations all through the 60s. He was the big guy in children's book illustration. He became the big guy in Gothic horror illustration in the 1970s. He was kind of ubiquitous, both physically on the Cape and his work. It shows up everywhere. If you opened a TV Guide, if you opened a New Yorker, if you opened Sports Illustrated, National Lampoon, there he is, illustration. He just seems to show up in a lot of strange places. When Edward passed away in 2000, his will just stipulated to sell the house. He didn't say, don't turn it into a museum, and so that's what we went with. A lot of people were really concerned about Edward's legacy, and they made sure the house did not go on the market, that it became a museum, that his trust was involved in it, and that they kept it pretty much as Edward had it. With Edward, you reinterpret him every season, really. And as I was working with him, you start to connect the dots of things. You go, oh, look at that. That's what he did over here. Or, that piece of nonsense is what he uses here. Or something as simple as that picture on the wall. He drew that. It's in the background of this book and The Hapless Child. All this stuff it accumulates and grows, and like a big web, it just kind of expands every year. So now it's gotten seriously interesting. We keep finding all this stuff. So I think it's reflected in the house. The exhibits are interesting, and I learn stuff too. We use the World Wide Web frequently, but we also have a phone. The Edward Gorey House is located in the heart of the beautiful village of Yarmouthport. We are open from April until December. We recommend during the summers that people go to our website, which is edwardgoreyhouse.org, and make reservations because we fill up a lot. There's a lot of stuff to be found here. Something for everyone, especially those who enjoy wearing a lot of black. Visit the house. You won't be the only ones to do so.
My name's Kristen Andres, and I am the current president of Friends of Chatham Waterways. Friends of Chatham Waterways is a nonprofit on an all-volunteer board. We were organized way back when in 1983. It's a grassroots effort to protect Chatham's natural resources, in particular protection of our fresh and salt waterways, as well as the adjoining uplands. We have several programs, and primarily we engage volunteers. So we have a coastal water watchers program that was started back in 1998 when the town of Chatham needed to collect some water samples. About 150 volunteers were organized and trained to do water sampling from boats out in our coastal estuaries. And that monitoring continues on today, and we organize volunteers each year, and they're trained and they go out and sample. So we have a very robust data set, so it's really important to the town. We also have a pond monitoring program where our volunteers go out every 2 weeks and sample 5 of our ponds relative to potentially toxic cyanobacteria blooms. We collaborate with the town on most all of our projects, and the cyanobacteria monitoring program is in collaboration with the town and the Association of Preserved Cape Cod. We also, each September, we participate in Coast Sweep, which is an international program with Coastal Zone Management, where volunteers go out and pick up trash and debris on our shorelines, our coastal shorelines, and then they provide that information and sent off to Coastal Zone Management, who maintains that data. Volunteers generally work with us in the summer. It's not a huge time commitment on the water sampling. The ponds get sampled every 2 weeks, and if you're a water watcher out on the coastal embayments, there's designated days in the summer that everybody goes out and does the sampling on the same day. So it's not a huge lift, but it's a great way to be out on the water and to work with other volunteers. There are other opportunities for volunteers. There are things sometimes where we've got events happening or other projects underway, and so we're always happy to engage whoever is interested to be more involved with the work that we do. Anybody who's interested in volunteering can go to our website at chathamwaterways.org, and there is a support button, and you can certainly join us as a member by giving a donation, and you can sign up to be a volunteer. We've had several exciting things that we undertook this past year, which is a big lift for an all-volunteer organization. In April, we rolled out our Water Pledge campaign during Earth Week. Our Chatham Water Pledge is an effort to bring awareness to how precious our water resource is. And so we are trying to engage folks to take the pledge, which means to skip the fertilizers, avoid pesticides, conserve water, and embrace Cape-friendly lawn, which is a Cape Cod lawn, which most of us who've lived here a long time still have. We have been having table events and trying to get that message out in many different ways. We have well over 100 properties as of August of this year, of 2025, who have taken the pledge and who we then give a sign to, and they can post the sign in the front of their yard and show that they're supporting those efforts to conserve our water and protect its water quality. 2 programs that we've had for many years now. One has been our grant program to the schools, the Barbara Stribert Environmental Grant Program, where we give dollars to teachers for programs that they want to do with their students. Often they are field trips, so we help pay for transportation or materials. And it's really just a way to ensure that students have that opportunity in the middle school and high school to get out into the environment. We also have a very robust scholarship program where we give dollars each year to undergraduate and graduate students who are studying in the environmental field. So we really feel strongly about educating our next conservationists. The purpose of FCW is to fill that gap between town government and what needs to be done to really help protect our natural resources. There is no way that the town could have afforded to have paid for somebody to do all this water sampling, and so our volunteers really fill that niche. And also the other gap is that the town doesn't have a lot of resources for education and outreach, and so we try to fulfill that for the community, and we try to provide educational events and information to the citizens and advocate when necessary.
With over 500 nonprofits on the Cape, it can be difficult to make your organization's message heard. That's where video comes in. It can engage your intended audience and allow for better retention, improved clarity, and understanding. Cape Media Center is willing to help your organization create a persuasive message through the power of video. For a small fee, we'll work with you to create a compelling public service announcement and even produce a full-length television segment showcasing your nonprofit in depth. Once completed, these videos will run on Comcast Channel 26, Roku TV, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Plus, your organization can use these videos in your own newsletter, website, and social media platforms at no additional cost. So let's work together to strengthen your outreach and better serve our community.
The fourth annual Community Safety Day brought together Barnstable's public safety teams, including all 5 village fire departments, the police department, and the Council on Aging, for a day dedicated to keeping residents safe at home, on the road, and throughout their neighborhoods. More than 30 professional and government agencies took part, offering live demonstrations, interactive exhibits, and hands-on learning experiences. Attendees had a chance to ask safety experts questions, explore emergency vehicles up close, and learn practical tips they could use every day. It was a powerful opportunity for the community to connect with local public safety professionals and to walk away better prepared to protect themselves and their loved ones. Cape Media Center, building community through media.
I am Andrew Gottlieb, the Executive Director of the Association to Preserve Cape Cod. APCC is the Cape's largest and longest existing environmental advocacy and education organization. We work on issues of concern across the region of Cape Cod. We've been around since 1968. So the mission of APCC is to help preserve and protect the environmental well-being of Cape Cod, both for current and future generations. Our programs and our scope and breadth runs from Bourne to Provincetown. Our focus changes periodically depending on what's going on. In today's world, our primary focus is on protection and enhancement of water quality. In particular, our focus has been around reducing nutrient enrichment of our waters, primarily through controlling 3 primary sources. Septic effluent, primary means of wastewater disposal on the Cape is through backyard septic systems. Those have degraded our marine environment and our freshwater environment. And so fixing that problem and helping towns get the resources necessary to address that problem has been a primary focus of ours. We're working a lot these days on encouraging and creating financial tools necessary to enable towns, land trusts, and local entities to preserve the remaining portion of the land of Cape Cod that is neither developed nor protected. 60,000 acres of prime habitat that will go a long way towards determining what our environmental future is. Doing a lot of work on that. We are very heavily invested in projects that restore the functioning of wetland resources, both coastal salt marshes, freshwater wetlands, and doing a lot on reconverting bogs that are no longer producing cranberries back to natural wetland systems. And then lastly, I would say our other area of discipline is in promoting good land use practices that homeowners can implement so that they can have their yards look and feel the way they want them to feel, but do it in a way that works with as opposed to against nature. We have active monitoring of a number of saltwater marsh areas where we're either planning to do restoration work or have done restoration work, doing the research necessary to understand what current conditions are so that we have a baseline to evaluate how well the system responded to the intervention. And then for projects where we've had interventions, we're monitoring to see how quickly those resources recover. We have a 9-month-a-year freshwater monitoring program where we're looking at 50 ponds in collaboration with Barnstable County to understand water quality in our ponds so we can do some broad characterizations of what's going on there. We run a very robust cyanobacteria monitoring program in our freshwater ponds, 150-odd ponds across the Cape, where we look for presence or absence of cyanobacteria, where we find presence in sufficient density that it creates the possibility of toxic releases from the cyanobacteria. We have an online mapping tool that we notify the public about the presence of those things and advise them on restricting their or limiting their access and utilization of those water bodies. We have a few hundred volunteers that work with us on a variety of programs and efforts, everything from helping us with office work to being out in the field. The vast majority of the cyanobacteria samples that we collect are collected through engagement with volunteers. So we have an extensive training program with volunteers. They allow us to have a much broader scope program. Our baseline water quality work that we're doing with the county on the 50 ponds, every one of our samples is taken with a volunteer. Volunteers are at the core of the annual herring counting that we do as an organization in the spring. It tends to focus on the spring and the spring migration. We have dozens of people that are out in the field counting. So volunteers are a really important part of extending the work that we can do. So for anybody who's interested in learning anything about any of our programs, cyanobacteria, sign up for alerts, volunteer, just become more environmentally aware, visit our website at apcc.org. You know, while we're still relatively small, we have been growing. I think our growth is in response to a desire from the people who live, work, and recreate on Cape Cod to preserve the nature of the environment that drew them here in the first place. And, you know, the threats to our environment are significant and real. The destiny of this is not preordained, and how it comes out has a lot to do with what we do to be active, to take common sense steps to preserve the environment, and that's what we're all about.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.